Warning! This video contains a lot of arachnid footage. If you have the arachnophobia gene or called reverto, you might want to skip this video. For this challenge, I will be using only monsters based off arthropods, meaning Neopterons, Carapaceon, and Temnoceran, meaning 75% of monsties are spiders. The reason for these three families is because of all the monsters in these families, only 4 are usable as monsties. And one of them, the only Carapaceon, Shogun Senator, is only available in the 3rd area in the game, with only 4 areas. It is too far for me to ever use in a challenge run alone. Then are the Neopterons such as Bnabra and the giant Thunderbug, who only appear as small monsters. Yet all 3 families are based off various arthropods, making it perfect for a team challenge run. As usual, I am writing my script as I go along and have no idea how the challenge will go in advance. And good news! I have finally progressed enough on my avatar to finally use it in videos. Yay! Now, I know it is not complete, do expect my appearance to improve over time, and for more expressions to be added, it is very difficult to digitize myself like that. The rules are as follow. Monsties and equipment from monsters of the arthropod types, Neopteron, Carapaceon, and Temnoceran. No items in battle except for paint bombs. No duplicate monsties. Unless forced to by the story, I can only use field skills from the permitted monsties. I cannot fight feral monsters or advance the story with meals active. No side stories. And no changing a monstie's element. Starting the run, I create my character, giving her a look befitting a ruler of all spider kind. So, given none of the monsties I can use are in the introduction, we will quickly skip through the tutorial. But while showing you clips to prove I did do the tutorial, I thought why not share a bit about myself. You know, the person behind the crazy Lamia character. I know, shockers, I don't actually try to swallow giant eggs raw. To fit the theme of this run, why not go a bit over my own story with arachnophobia? So for the longest time, I was actually scared of spiders. I would freeze and cry if I saw one. But this fear eventually developed into a fascination with the creepy crawlers until I completely stopped fearing them, even living in coexistence with them. Once out of tutorial hell, though hell might be a better place than that, I go straight to get my Nursula, the only monstie I will be able to use for a while, and then I make myself my Bnabra equipment. Now, I will not mention further side quests or equipment unless they have some relevance to the challenge. After collecting my Bnabra resources and creating my equipment all while raiding a spider and listening to analog horror videos, I know you would be scared enough of the spider already. You will not need more horror. I head for the first Glavenus fight. The battle-bound Glavenus was easy, only made easier with the help of my Nursula's sleep dart, putting the Glavenus to sleep twice. All the while I was boosting my party with music, only to end with a double kinship. Right after, I went to fight a Nursula. I had assumed they were higher level, but I guess my assumptions came from the feral one that always give me issues in the earlier part of my runs. The fight was laughably easy. Joined by Eleanor, we fight a feral Yankutku. Though the story tells us it is to test her, I believe the truth is we were testing how many times I could stab the poor thing to sleep before it died. I counted 4 times. Now comes the tedious part of these runs. Given my rules, I cannot advance further because Eleanor forcefully fed me. No, I did not eat of my free will. I am not responsible for the empty kitchens. Luckily, I do not need to keep the game at night, so instead I switch to day and use this 30-minute timer to go around and finish the side quests or even collect resources I'll need later. I also decided to take the time and name my itsy bitsy spider Nibble. While I am rampaging around, here is a spider fact. In most species of spider, the female is larger than the males. Given Monster Hunter has a system of size variations, it is safe to assume large crowns Nurselas are females, and tiny crowns are males. As soon as the 30 minutes run out, I attack the invasive Yangaruga, rigging its kneecaps so my Nibble can eat it. But it flies off, big sad spooder. Then we go ahead and free the Raffian. It has very little importance to this run, so I doubt I will even mention it again. What I will mention though is my increasing Nursela's rank to S. For the next story mission, we need to go back where the crystal egg with the Devil Joe is. However, Nibble can neither fly nor swim, so I will need to swim across the lake myself, all while fleeing from fishy encounters. While I am making my way to shore, here is a fun Nursela fact. Did you know the thing it uses as a cloak is actually a Gypsaros' hide? It also gets its poisonous bites from the Gypsaros it hunts. Finally making it ashore, I am attacked by frenzied feral birds. The first fight are a pair of Velocidrome. Though they carded me twice because of my inability to heal, the fight was easy. I destroyed their crystals first, then skinned them for a new coat. Then is a feral Gypsaros. This is still the easy part of this game, so I simply focus on riding Nibble and stabbing it to sleep repeatedly. After making so many cloaks for Nibble's next fashion show, I unlocked the Rite of Channeling. Here are Nibble's stats now. Right before Nibble's greatest fashion show, Vermeil attack. Jealous of her fabulous monstie cloaks. And they had to do this from safety behind a lake. Don't think I won't swim to you, you assholes. I'll web you the fuck up and have you watch my show in bondage. And my fashion opponents are these two Glavinus. Oh no, this will not do. These armors are so unfashionable. This is a fashion show, not a battleground. I'll need to teach these naughty dinos what fashion is about by stabbing them with my needle in the eyes. Spitting venom is in their eyes, only to finish with a choreography in the forest to stab them in the face. Now that's fashion. With Nibble's show cancelled, I now have to leave my homeland to find the next grand stage that will accept my fashion, made from Glavinus hide. But oh disaster, there's no climbing up that accursed pit. I am forced to use the unfashionable Rafa. Luckily, other pits can be climbed out of. Blocking my path is the Scourge of Camera, Magnamello, and the souls it wears like an edgelord all around its body. Time to teach this out-of-date saber-toothed cat the meaning of eternal sleep. Though it refused to be put to sleep, I managed to lull him 3 times. No, I was only able to take advantage once because my stupid allies would act too soon and wake it up before. And even with sleep, the fight proved challenging. What with its ability to use AoE and typeless attacks for huge damage, guarding me twice before it finally closed its eyes forever. Arriving in the new area, and already feral monsters are jumping us, starting with feral Somnican, who was a second attempt. It turns out my Nurtle armor is weak to thunder, his secondary element, and I may or may not have tried rushing the crystals too, causing me to lose very fast. For the second attempt, I simply did not attack the crystals when they shone while he was mad, instead focusing on attacking and blocking any typeless attacks with the gun lance, then riding Nibble to finish off the fight. This fight was immediately followed by feral Rakna-Kadaki. Now, this one was not on purpose, I was just collecting resources and it got me right as I was turning around, not giving me time to get better equipment. Still, it was a first try, though I was guarded twice due to its thunder element and Nibble using the wrong skill at the wrong time. As soon as I wrote Nibble, I would juggle between putting Toby to sleep, then following up with Sleep Chaser. Ah well, with this fight done, I can now free my Nurselas into this area and later get the Nature Heal. The following feral monster, Izuchi, was another sleepyhead who got woken up harshly by the big bad spider again and again. Seriously, I was going in this challenge run expecting harder fights, but everyone is weak to sleep, it seems. Next are the bears on their honeymoon. Now, I expected this fight to be a very hard one, given invasive monsters are supposed to be immune to statuses like sleep, and my Nibble likes AoE attacks. And my own sword sucks in the damage department, yet even with the immunity, this bear was destroyed by my sleep needle. And no, this is not a futanary innuendo. With this fight now done, canines are now available to find in the Blessing Hill area. So I take this opportunity to raise their rank to S and give Nibble the Nature Heal gene. With canines unlocked, we dig underground using one, as I still do not have my digger for this run, and head for the next boss. For all I know, this stupid bird was a second try, mainly because Nibble could barely tank a few hits, and to make matters worse, the first attempt ended because I was kill sealed right as Nibble was targeted. The second attempt went much better, what with the boss not focusing me as much and not being skill sealed, allowing me to ride Nibble and stab that stupid bird to death. With Excursion unlocked, I go straight away to Azuria and then the Timberlands to get the best possible stamina regen I can. Unless I find a better build, this is also the same I will do for my other monsties later. The Floating Mountain, the Frog Dragon, call it whatever you want. Yamatsukami is next, and my fucking idiots following me decided that I should redo this fight 4 times because they are that fucking incompetent. All 4 attempts, they did their best to fail every single blockable AoE attacks by selecting the wrong type, causing me to take way more damage than I should. This fight, no joke, would have been easier in solo. In the end, I was just lucky that Yama decided not to use too many of these attacks, even though I especially switched to Korra, so she would tank for me. Don't be like me and bring the single combat decoration for your gunlands. It would make your life so much easier. I was lucky, yes, I feel the irony, and got myself a Shogun Senator at the entrance of the marches, allowing me to go back and hatch it, adding the only non-spider party member to my team and giving him the legendary name Let Me Solo Her, because of the double katana-like claws, and it would wear a pot if it found a big enough one. Almudron was a very easy fight, especially with how weak it is to sleep. It barely was able to land a hit, only getting 1 card because of the mud's damage over time. Having exited the marsh, I raced for a shredded Nursula egg to add to my party, naming her Blanket. While getting the new genes for my party members and also getting them up to level with Nibble, I defeated the Feral, Paolumu, and Tetranodon, easy bosses at this point in the game. I also tried to fight the Feral Nursula, but all items ended the same. Without a flying monstie, it would be impossible to reach it. Once my party has caught up to Nibble's level, I return to the main story, only to fight a very sleepy Endurakan. Nursula might be a tiny bit overpowered. I would simply put the beast to sleep continually and wake it up with Sleep Chaser again and again until it finally died. I was supposed to show it before the fight, but here are my stats. Not that it changes much, what with the last boss being a sleep juggle. I am extremely lucky, as the very first egg of the very first den I visit in the Death Maw is that of a Rakna-Kadaki. Adding her to my party, I name her White Widow. Because of how the Death Maw is made, I am forced to use Rafa the whole way. But due to my rules, I will forbid myself from getting anything I cannot get from my permitted monsties, excluding the bugs because they kind of are in my way. Also, while we are waiting for the next boss, I am letting you know that for the next 2 bosses, Nibble is forbidden, so I can showcase more party members. Rakna-Kadaki was a second try. Both attempts I used the same technique, but the only difference being I eliminated the ads much sooner in attempt 2. After eliminating the ads, I managed to climb on Let Me Solo Her, though not before switching once to Blanket to let me regen some stamina. But then the fight went smoothly. As soon as I started riding, I would use the scythe attack almost every turn and heal when needed, rinse and repeat until death. I went to attempt Raid Out right away with my best equipment, which is Thunder Neutral, and Blanket, with also Thunder Neutral. However, it is very clear very fast that I will need to look for a few more levels to increase my defenses before attempting it, given a lot of attacks are one hits. 2 levels later and a brand new armor, I return for another attempt, and this one goes billions of times better. Rado gets paralyzed, misses dangerous attacks, and overall is a very easy fight with only a single card by the end. Really did not like my status effects from Blanket. Well, we are now in the frigid wastelands and have to swim across. Looks like it is time for some brand new Nursula facts. Did you know the skin on the shrouded Nursula is actually a Kizu? This is also why they have the ability to paralyze. Looks like we still have a way to go, so here is a spider fact. Don't worry, no images will be shown, so if you are curious, you can do a Google search yourselves. It is well known that females will often cannibalize their mates after coupling, if they are hungry. So to counter this, some male spiders have developed a detachable penis. It will detach from their bodies and stay inside the female, allowing the male to run away. Of course, this also means the male can no longer reproduce. For Feral Black Gun Guy, I decided to use White Widow, even though I knew it was a double-edged sword due to its high sweetness, but I also abused the Black Gun Guy's fire weakness right back. For this fight, I aim to ride as fast as possible as to make the AoEs weaker, but when I saw I would be knocked down, I would call for a double kinship, and later finish the fight with another double kinship. I took the same risk with Gossarag, but it did not pay off. Far from it. For the second attempt, I tried going for equipment with neutral resistance and Nibble was also neutral, but Gossarag damage was too high. If he was not asleep, he would destroy me. Returning at level 44 with improved armor, I attempt the Gossarag again. This time my tactic is as follows. When he is called, use Nibble to try and put him to sleep. If it fails and he gets mad, change to let me solo her to focus on damage dealing until he calms down. I use only my gun lance for this fight, as it was almost twice as powerful as my other weapons, plus it allowed me to block whenever I needed. Of course, there is no way to access the Sacrosanctum without flying, so Rafa it is. The Elder Dragon Malzeno is next, and given he uses Dragon Element to attack, everyone in my party is viable due to their shared Dragon resistances. This time I used Blanket because I remembered Malzeno could be paralyzed, though he is pretty resistant to it. He carded me a few times, even knocked me off from Blanket, but as soon as the head was broken, lowering its damage, I'm already basically at 1, as he could do nothing against the Arachnophobia and Parapoison Chaser combo. Because I know Arkveld will require a few more levels before I can attempt it without Rathalos, we'll go and level up all the while trying to find the missing resources to maximize my equipment. Now level 55, I return for my first attempt against Arkveld. Here was my tactic for Arkveld. First, I used Nibble for her higher dragon resistance. Let me solo her as equal resistances, but uses water element, which Arkveld is resistant to. Actually, Arkveld resists all element except dragon and non-element. Then for my ally, I use Ogden for his regeneration and his monstie that applies status effect. Then I would either attempt to apply severe poison or use Omni Chase to deal massive damage if under any status effect. I would do this until I have to use my kinship skill, only to finish off with a petty pop jab in the eye. Aishin one was so easy, it was like pushing a paraplegic right into a Nursela's web. And about as satisfying. Meaning, not at all. Of course this fight is meant to be easy, to teach a player Aishin's basic mechanics. Knowing I need to be around level 70 for the next bosses, I go and fight the last feral monsters of the Timberland for the extra stamina regeneration. Finally at level 70, here are my stats before my first attempt. As Rathalos was a first attempt, I even forgot to change an ally, and the first fight went very well. My technique was as follows: get carded once to put the monster in confidence, climb on a White Widow, and remind it the meaning of arachnophobia before blasting its head off with a wyvern fire. For battle-bound Lunageron, I kept Korra knowingly. I used White Widow even with her ice weakness, as she was the best to damage the Lunageron, all the while knowing Korra would act as the hot tank she is, only to then also teach the meaning of arachnophobia to Lunageron. Aishin 2 was a third attempt, mainly because even though my party has very high dragon resistances, her damage is just way too high. Even my third attempt was a close call where I only won because I was both lucky with attacks where it would mainly seek to target me instead of using typeless or AoE attacks. Still, at the end, I was forced to juggle with all my party members in order to win. Knowing I did not stand a chance at my level, I raised my monsties to level 75 before returning to attempt the final boss. Final Aishin was a third attempt, mainly out of stubbornness because I was trying to use my spiders instead of using the one party member I should be using, the ironically named Let Me Solo Her. His higher defenses and his focus on damage rather than status effect, which Aishin is immune to most of them. And finally, his very high resistances to dragon. My plan was as follow: use my rider to apply as many bonuses with the hunting horn, then climb on Let Me Solo Her's back. Then I would use all of my available attacks as follow. If low on life and no signs of Simon healing, I use Nature Heal. I would use my many single attacks when targeted, otherwise I would focus on my death side for its low stamina cost and high damage. If there were crystals, I would use Hydroblast to hit everyone, causing the crystals on Aishin's back to break faster than expected. Finally, I would use my kinship skill on the final phase to finish her off faster. With this ends the Arthropod challenge run. I really enjoyed this challenge. Never realized how overpowered some of the status effects were until now. And the shared resistances to dragon was very refreshing, given how my previous runs had very few dragon resistances. Now, if you want me to do this challenge for stories 1 and 2, remember to subscribe. If I hit 100 subscribers, before my next video comes out, I will start working on that challenge right away. Otherwise, you will need to wait until I am in the mood. With this, thank you very much for watching. Remember to also comment and like this video, it helps the channel a lot and motivates me to do more of these challenges.